Hello and welcome to this week's Productivity Enhancer. This week we're going to take a look at how to achieve a pretty common effect in Photoshop, and that's taking a color photo and turning that photo into a black and white while highlighting one aspect of it with the original color. So for this photograph, I plan on highlighting this female subject right here, and everything else will be in black and white. So the first thing we need to do is duplicate this layer. I'm just going to duplicate it right there. And now we're going to take the saturation down all the way to 0. So now we have a black and white photograph, and if we turn it on and off, you can see the difference just like that. So the first part of our task is done. We have everything we don't want highlighted in black and white. However, we do have our subject in black and white as well. So what we need to do is create a layer mask. So right down here we have this little Add Layer Mask button, and when we press that, it adds a layer mask to that layer. Layer masks are going to be one of your most powerful tools in Photoshop, and there's seemingly infinite functionality just in layer masks alone. But one thing to take notice of is that this layer mask is white, and when dealing with layer masks, white is going to reveal everything in the layer that it's attached to, and black is going to conceal. So in other words, think of this layer mask as like a gel over your lens. It's not doing anything to the actual pixels of the image, it's just a mask over that specific layer. So as I said, right now it's all white, so it is revealing everything in this layer. If we want to conceal anything in this layer, then we're going to have to use black. And the easiest way to do that is to just switch our foreground and background color, so black is in the foreground. Grab our brush tool, and it's probably a good idea to zoom in here, because this is going to be our subject, and what we want is for this subject here, this very vibrant character, to be in color, while the rest of the background, including the rest of this graffitiized wall, we want that to be in black and white. So now that our foreground color is black, once we start painting, it's like we're brushing that layer mask away and it's revealing everything underneath in this layer. So you can see we're starting to get a little bit of color, but let's take a look at what's actually happening by hiding this lower layer. So you can see that by using our paintbrush with the color selected as black, it's concealing or hiding everything in the layer that it's attached to. So once we get a pretty good outline, we can use a bigger brush. Let's just go ahead and get a good outline. Make sure we do the arm. And in order to see it a little better, I'm going to bring back this lower level. And you can already see that we're having some pretty vibrant colors shine through. So I'm just going to hit the bracket key to enlarge my brush here. And then we can continue to paint the rest of her. And this technique is nothing fancy, just using the brush tool and brushing over the spots in the layer mask that I want to be concealed, thereby showing what's below. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to clean this up a little bit by lowering the size of that brush and then switching back. So now I'll be painting with white, and that's going to be bringing back the portion of the black and white photo that we painted out earlier. So if you're painting with white, it will reveal everything attached to this layer that is being brushed. Want to make sure this area is nice and black and white too. And when we zoom out, you can see that that specific feature just pops off the canvas. So that's the basic effect. However, from here, the possibilities are infinite about how to modify this picture further. If we take a look at the layer mask, we can right-click on it and refine the mask. And we have the Refine Mask dialog box that comes up here. Here we can manipulate the edge detection by toggling the radius up or down. And you can see by doing that, it changes the mask slightly. We can also smooth out those edges, add a little feather to them, or not quite that much, maybe there. We can shift the edge by percentage. We'll just bring it down just a little bit. And if you're adjusting the layer mask, chances are you're going to want it to be output directly to that layer mask, but you can change the output right here. So we'll click OK. It doesn't seem to have changed our photo very much, but you do have the ability to refine the mask by right-clicking on it. You can also hit Control-I for invert, and that will invert your selections, and this is a good way to see just the opposite of what you're looking for, and things will pop out. As you can see, I missed a few spots here, so I will change our foreground color to white, and that will paint the rest of these spots out, and Control-I again, and there you go. We can also decide, you know what, I don't like this at all, and just ditch it by right-clicking on that mask and deleting it. Maybe you've decided this fire hydrant needs to be accentuated, so let's go ahead and add another layer mask. Follow the same principles as before, just brushing out. So brushing out the gray until the color behind it shows up. So when we zoom out, Control-0, that fire hydrant is the focal point of the photograph, and everything else is grayed out. So that's a real basic introduction to layer masks. However, using the layer mask for this specific task opens up a lot of doors in your photo editing. The whole purpose of Photoshop is to enable creativity, and this is just one single way to do that. So thank you for watching this week's Productivity Enhancer. Until next time.